When I found out my husband was planning a divorce, I quietly moved all my assets to a different account. A week later, he filed for divorce and was shocked when his evil plan fell apart like a house of cards. Rebecca Martinez never thought she'd become the kind of woman who checks her husband's phone. But there she was at 2 in the morning, Nathan's iPhone glowing in her trembling hands while he snored beside her. The message thread with his lawyer made her stomach drop like she'd swallowed ice water. Asset protection strategy finalized. She won't see it coming until papers are served. The Austin property transfer should be complete by Friday. Her wedding ring suddenly felt like it was choking her finger. 23 years of marriage, and Nathan was planning to gut her financially while she slept. Rebecca set the phone down with surgical precision, her mind already racing. She'd built half their wealth with her marketing consultancy, scraped together down payments, negotiated every major purchase. Now he wanted to leave her with nothing. The bedroom felt suffocating. She slipped out, bare feet silent on hardwood floors that she'd refinished herself 3 summers ago. In the kitchen, she made coffee with hands that barely shook. Dawn was still hours away, but Rebecca's war had already begun. Nathan's morning routine hadn't changed in 15 years. Coffee black, toast with strawberry jam, Wall Street Journal folded precisely in thirds. Rebecca watched him over her laptop screen, cataloging every gesture like evidence. His wedding ring caught the light as he buttered his toast. Funny how she'd never noticed the slight tan line beneath it before. Late night again? His voice carried that practiced concern that used to comfort her. Rebecca's fingers paused over her keyboard. She was transferring their joint savings to an account he'd never heard of, watching numbers disappear with each click. Couldn't sleep. Too much caffeine yesterday. Nathan nodded absently, already scrolling his phone. Probably texting his lawyer, or worse, whoever had convinced him that torching their marriage was worth it. Rebecca had seen enough divorce cases through her clients to know the patterns. Men like Nathan didn't just wake up wanting freedom. They woke up wanting someone else. The transfer completed with a soft chime. $47,000 vanished into the digital ether. Just the beginning. Rebecca's hands moved like a surgeon's as she photographed documents in Nathan's home office. Bank statements, property deeds, investment portfolios, everything scattered across his mahogany desk like he owned the world. She'd always been excluded from these late-night sessions, told it was too boring for her to worry about. The house deed made her pause. Their Austin home, purchased 12 years ago with her inheritance from her grandmother, was now solely in Nathan's name. The transfer date was last month. While she was visiting her sister in Dallas, mourning their father's death, Nathan had been busy erasing her from their life. Her phone buzzed. A text from Sarah, her business partner. "Coffee later? You sounded strange yesterday." Strange didn't begin to cover it. Rebecca felt like she was watching her life through someone else's eyes, seeing patterns that had been invisible for years. Nathan's sudden interest in simplifying their finances, his insistence on handling all the paperwork, the way he'd started working late every Tuesday and Thursday. She photographed the last document and slipped back downstairs. Nathan was gone, his coffee cup still warm on the counter. The coffee shop on 6th Street buzzed with morning energy, but Rebecca felt like she was underwater. Sarah sat across from her, concern etched in every line of her face. They'd known each other since college, built their marketing firm from nothing, survived 2 recessions, and countless personal disasters together. "You look like hell, Becca." Rebecca stirred her latte mechanically. Around them, Austin's creative class typed furiously on laptops, chasing dreams and deadlines. She used to be one of them, hungry and hopeful. Now she felt ancient. "Nathan's leaving me." The words came out flat, emotionless. "He's been planning it for months, hiding assets, transferring property. I found his lawyer's messages." Sarah's cup hit the table with a sharp clink. She leaned forward, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried more weight than shouting. "That bastard! What are you going to do?" Rebecca met her friend's eyes for the first time that morning. Something had crystallized overnight, hardened into diamond-sharp resolve. "I'm going to disappear everything he thinks he's stealing. Every account, every investment, every penny I helped earn. Rebecca's laptop screen glowed with account numbers and routing codes as she systematically dismantled their financial life. The irony wasn't lost on her. Nathan had taught her most of these tricks years ago, back when they were partners instead of adversaries. His mistake was assuming she'd forgotten. The investment accounts were trickier. She called their broker, Marcus, using her most professional voice. I need to restructure our portfolio. Nathan and I discussed it last night. The lie tasted like copper, but Marcus didn't question it. Why would he? She'd been making these decisions for years while Nathan took credit. By noon, she'd moved over $200,000 across 7 different accounts. Not theft. Their names were on everything. Just strategic repositioning before Nathan could execute his grand plan. Her phone rang. Nathan's photos smiled up at her from the screen, that same grin from their wedding day when she thought they were building something permanent together. Hey, honey. I might be late tonight. Big meeting with a potential client. Rebecca almost laughed. Client. No problem, I'll probably work late too. The law office smelled like leather and old money. Exactly the kind of place Nathan would choose for his grand betrayal. Rebecca sat across from Jennifer Walsh, one of Austin's most ruthless divorce attorneys, feeling strangely calm. She'd expected rage, tears, the dramatic collapse she'd seen in movies. Instead, she felt like a chess player, finally seeing the board clearly. Your husband's been thorough, Jennifer said, spreading documents across her polished desk. Property transfers, account restructuring, even a valuation of your business that's suspiciously low. Rebecca studied the papers. Nathan's lawyer had done his homework, painting her as a dependent spouse who'd contributed little to their accumulated wealth. The business she'd built from nothing was somehow worth only $50,000. Their house, bought with her inheritance, was now entirely his asset. He's underestimated one thing, Rebecca said quietly. Jennifer raised an eyebrow. What's that? I'm not the woman he married anymore. Rebecca's smile was sharp enough to cut glass. And I've been moving money since Monday. The lawyer's expression shifted from professional sympathy to predatory interest. Tell me everything. Rebecca's evening routine felt like performance art. She cooked Nathan's favorite dinner, set the table with their wedding china, even lit candles. He walked into the dining room looking guilty and confused, like a man who'd been expecting divorce papers and found a romantic evening instead. What's the occasion? Nathan settled into his chair, but his shoulders remained tense. Can't a wife cook for her husband? Rebecca served his plate with steady hands. The pasta was perfect, the sauce exactly how he liked it. She'd been perfecting this recipe for over 2 decades. They ate in relative silence, Nathan stealing glances at her between bites. She knew he was wondering if she suspected anything, cataloging her behavior for signs of awareness. Men like Nathan always thought they were the smartest person in the room. Rebecca, we need to talk. Here it comes. She set down her fork and looked at him with wide, innocent eyes. About what, honey? Nathan's jaw worked like he was chewing something bitter. Tomorrow, he would file the papers. Tomorrow, he would discover that his carefully laid plans had crumbled while he slept. The call came at 11:37 a.m. Rebecca was reviewing client campaigns when her phone exploded with Nathan's ringtone. She let it ring 4 times before answering, her voice carefully modulated to sound surprised. Becca, what the hell did you do? In the background, she could hear voices, probably his legal team scrambling to understand how their airtight case had dissolved overnight. Nathan's breathing was ragged, like he'd been running or screaming. I don't understand. What happened? The money, Rebecca. All of it. Gone. She allowed herself a pause, as if processing shocking information. What money? Nathan, you're scaring me. Don't play stupid. His voice cracked with desperation. The accounts are empty. The investments are frozen. My lawyer says you've been moving assets all week. Rebecca's reflection in her office window looked strangely serene. Behind her, her awards and achievements caught the afternoon light. 20 years of building something Nathan had tried to erase with paperwork. Maybe you should come home. We can figure this out together. The line went dead. Phase 1 was complete. Nathan burst through their front door like a man fleeing a fire. His face was red, his expensive suit wrinkled, his carefully styled hair disheveled. Rebecca had never seen him lose control like this, and she discovered she quite enjoyed the view. He found her in the kitchen, calmly preparing lunch. "Where is it, Rebecca?" "Where is what?" She didn't look up from slicing tomatoes, the knife moving with practiced precision. "The money. Our money. Everything's gone." "Our money?" She finally met his eyes, and something in her expression made him step back. "Funny thing about that, Nathan. I spent some time reviewing our finances this week. Very educational." Nathan's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. She could see the exact moment he realized she knew everything. "The house deed, the investment transfers, your little chat logs with the lawyer." Rebecca set the knife down with deliberate care. "Did you really think I was that stupid? That I'd just sit there while you stole 23 years of my life?" His face went pale. "Becca, I can explain." "I'm sure you can, but I'm not interested in explanations anymore." Nathan collapsed into a kitchen chair like his strings had been cut. For the first time since she'd known him, he looked small, deflated. The powerful businessman who commanded boardrooms and intimidated competitors was just a middle-aged man who'd outplayed himself. "How long have you known?" Rebecca poured herself a glass of water, her movements calm and measured. "Since Monday night. Your phone was buzzing with messages from your lawyer. Something about asset protection strategies." "Jesus!" Nathan buried his face in his hands. "Becca, please, we can work this out." "Like you worked out transferring our house into your name? Like you worked out hiding our investment accounts?" Her voice remained steady, but something dangerous flickered in her eyes. "Tell me, Nathan, when exactly did you decide I was worth nothing?" He looked up, and for a moment she saw the man she'd married, confused, vulnerable, human. Then his lawyer instincts kicked in. "This is illegal. You can't just steal marital assets." Rebecca's laugh was sharp as breaking glass. "Steal? From myself? Everything I moved was in joint accounts. Everything I protected, I helped earn." "Your lawyer sounds frustrated," Rebecca observed mildly. Nathan set his phone down with exaggerated care, like he was afraid it might explode. "You've made this very complicated, Rebecca." "Complicated? No, Nathan. Complicated was finding out my husband of 23 years was planning to leave me homeless and penniless. This is just strategic." She stood and began clearing her lunch preparations, moving around the kitchen with the same efficiency she brought to everything else. Nathan watched her like he was seeing her for the first time. "I never meant for you to have nothing." Rebecca paused in loading the dishwasher. "Really? Then what exactly did you mean when you transferred our house into your name? What was the plan when you hid our investment accounts? Was I supposed to be grateful for whatever scraps you decided to leave behind?" Nathan opened his mouth, then closed it. They both knew there was no good answer to that question. "Who is she?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Nathan's face went through several expressions before settling on resignation. "Her name is Claire." Nathan's voice was barely above a whisper. "She works at the firm. She's young." Of course she was young. Rebecca felt something twist in her chest. Not jealousy, exactly, but a kind of weary recognition. Nathan was having the most predictable midlife crisis in the history of middle-aged men. "How long?" 8 months. Rebecca nodded slowly. 8 months ago, Nathan had suggested they simplify their finances. 8 months ago, he'd started working late on Tuesdays and Thursdays. 8 months ago, he'd stopped looking at her like she was someone he loved and started looking at her like she was something he owed. "And you thought what? That you'd just erase me and start over?" Nathan finally met her eyes. I thought it would be easier. For both of us." Easier. Rebecca tasted the word like something bitter. 23 years of marriage, and you thought erasing me would be easier than talking to me. She turned back to the dishes, her hands moving automatically. Behind her, Nathan sat in silence, probably calculating how much this conversation was going to cost him. The law firm of Henderson Rodriguez, Associates, occupied 3 floors of a glass tower in downtown Austin. Rebecca had been there once before, years ago, when Nathan first joined the partnership. She remembered being impressed by the marble lobby, the expensive art, the general atmosphere of legal intimidation. Now she walked through the same lobby like she owned it. Nathan trailed behind her, looking increasingly desperate. "Rebecca, please. This is my workplace. These are my colleagues. And Claire is your girlfriend. I think it's time everyone met your wife." The elevator ride to the 15th floor felt like ascending to an execution. Nathan's breathing was shallow, his face pale. Rebecca, meanwhile, felt more energized than she had in months. There was something liberating about finally being the person who knew everything instead of the person who knew nothing. The elevator opened onto a hushed corridor lined with offices. Through glass walls, Rebecca could see lawyers hunched over documents, paralegals rushing between desks, the machinery of legal warfare grinding away. "Which office is hers?" Nathan pointed to a corner office with shaking hands. Through the glass, Rebecca could see a woman in her early 30s, blonde hair pulled back in a severe bun, designer clothes that probably cost more than most people's rent. Claire looked up as they approached, her expression shifting from confusion to alarm as she recognized Nathan's obvious distress. She was prettier than Rebecca had expected, but in that generic, professional way that successful women often cultivated. Expensive but safe. "Nathan, what's wrong?" Rebecca stepped forward before her husband could answer. "Hi, Claire. I'm Rebecca Martinez, Nathan's wife." The color drained from Claire's face so quickly that Rebecca almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "I thought you should know that Nathan and I are having some financial discussions about our divorce." Rebecca's smile was sharp as a blade. "He's been so worried about making sure you're comfortable after we separate." Claire's eyes darted between Rebecca and Nathan like she was watching a tennis match played with hand grenades. "Nathan, I don't understand. He hasn't told you about his asset protection strategy." Rebecca settled into the chair across from Claire's desk uninvited. "How interesting. I would have thought that kind of financial planning would be something you'd discuss with your business partner." Nathan finally found his voice. "Rebecca, stop." "Stop what? Having an honest conversation with your girlfriend about your joint future?" Rebecca stood slowly, smoothing her skirt with deliberate care. Around them, the law firm buzzed with the usual afternoon energy, but she could see faces turning toward Claire's office, curious about the drama playing out behind glass walls. "You're right, Claire. This is inappropriate. All of it." Rebecca gathered her purse, her movements measured and controlled. "Nathan, your colleagues seem very interested in our family discussion." Through the glass walls, Rebecca could see lawyers and paralegals pretending to work while obviously eavesdropping. Nathan's face had gone from pale to green, his career flashing before his eyes as his personal life imploded in the most public way possible. "One more thing, Claire." Rebecca paused at the office door. "You might want to ask Nathan about the prenup he never mentioned. The one that protects my business assets but not his partnership stake in this firm." It was a lie, but a beautiful one. Rebecca watched Claire's eyes widen as she processed the implications of dating a man whose divorce could potentially affect his ability to remain a partner in the firm. Nathan grabbed Rebecca's arm as they left Claire's office. "That was cruel." "Cruel." Rebecca shook him off. "Nathan, you tried to steal my life. I'm simply returning the favor." Nathan emerged from his office an hour later, looking like he'd aged 5 years and 60 minutes. He found Rebecca in the living room, reading a book with the kind of focused calm that had always unnerved him during their marriage. "My lawyer says you'll negotiate." Rebecca didn't look up from her page. "Your lawyer is optimistic." "Rebecca, be reasonable. This could drag on for months. It'll cost both of us everything." "It'll cost you everything," she corrected mildly. "I've already protected what matters to me." Nathan sat heavily on the couch across from her. "What do you want?" It was the first time in their entire marriage that he'd asked her that question, like he actually wanted to hear the answer. Rebecca marked her place in the book and set it aside, studying her husband like he was a puzzle she was finally ready to solve. "I want you to understand something, Nathan. For 23 years I trusted you. I believed we were partners. I let you handle our finances because I thought you were looking out for both of us. Her voice remained steady, conversational. Finding out that you were actually planning to destroy me. That changed something fundamental. I never wanted to destroy you. Then, what would you call it? 3 months later, Rebecca signed the final divorce papers in Jennifer Walsh's office. The settlement was more than fair. It was a complete reversal of Nathan's original plan. She kept the house, half their investments, and full control of her business. Nathan kept his partnership, barely, after agreeing to buy out her share of their joint assets at market value. Claire had indeed left him, citing fundamental differences in values, when she resigned from the firm and moved to Dallas. The story of Nathan's spectacular miscalculation had become legendary in Austin's legal community, a cautionary tale about what happened when you underestimated your opponent. Rebecca walked out of the law office into the bright Texas sunshine, feeling lighter than she had in years. Her phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "Celebration dinner tonight?" She typed back, "Absolutely. I'm buying." For the first time in months, Rebecca Martinez felt like herself again. Not someone's wife, not someone's victim, but simply herself. Smart, capable, and finally free to build whatever came next. Nathan had taught her about strategy, about protection, about the careful accumulation of power. She'd simply learned the lessons better than he'd expected.